Oh, hey, everybody. It's that bitch Kevin Baskin, along with Brad Exotic.
Brad Exotic. There you go.
And we're here to draw pictures of big cats.
I picture myself as the toothless, what do they call him, muscle-bound boyfriend that never wears a shirt. You know?
Do any of them wear shirts?
Did you notice that at one point they were interviewing a motherfucker in a bathtub?
Yes. Did you notice how many of those interviews were conducted while motherfuckers were drunk off their ass?
Yeah, it's like, I guess that, like, they caught him when he takes his 1 month of bath, and he was like, I can't miss it, you know?
I saw an article on CNN that all those guys are bitching. They're like, oh, that was a horrible representation of what really happened. They took years of footage and edited it down to 1% so they could tell a salacious story. It wasn't really like that. It's like, yeah, it was really like that.
Yeah,
it was so like that.
Totally like that.
Did you share the show?
I'm trying to do that right now. Figure out how you did it. I'm fucking tech retarded, so everything takes me a second. Here we go.
So let me check. I just want to double check this thing and make sure it's public. Doing some troubleshooting. This is we're live. You shared the video.
Yeah, I did.
I'm looking. Yeah, mine's public. Yours is to your friends only, you bastard.
Mine is?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Kevin and Brad here. We're going to do another. Your woman says it's public. Can you see the chat here? Are you in StreamYard?
Me?
Yeah.
I see a thing over here in the corner that says private chat, and then I see one that says live comments. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I see the what would you call it? The bay there talking.
Cool. Well, we'll both keep an eye on those then.
On mine too. So
yeah. So we'll both keep an eye on them. We're gonna do another drawing show for you fellas
and fella-ettes, lady fellas,
Strangeville for all you lady boys,
dudes and dudettes.
I am trucking right along here. I was talking to Brad earlier. I told you that I actually kind of tweaked my ending a little bit. I was sitting there watching one of my buddies recommended this weird anime from the 90s to me.
What was it called?
What's that?
What was it called?
It's called Goku the something.
Yeah.
It's like there was this really crazy anime in the 90s called your woman says cool cats and kittens. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens in Strangeville. There was a really wicked. It was actually called Wicked City. Was this really?
Yeah, I know that one for sure.
That's a fucked up anime. Super violent and sexual, and lots of. I mean, it opens up with a woman that turns into a spy. She's the movie opens with a guy fucking a chick, and she turns into a spider with a vagina mouth. Her vagina turns into a mouth of sharp fucking teeth. And I probably saw that first when I was like 16.
Yeah.
That's
when the problem started. Then.
Yeah, I'm sure that weird anime really helped inform all this shit I'm drawing right now.
Yeah.
But the same guy that did all that made Wicked City, he made this Goku movie, and it's basically the same type of thing. It's an ultra violent, like noir anime, follows a cop, but this time he's fighting weird cyborgs.
Yeah,
it's not connected to Wicked City in any way. It's another standalone story. But I started watching Goku the whatever the fuck tonight, and for some reason, as I'm watching it, I just get this inspiration to like really kind of fix up my ending a little bit, which the ending was already fine and it would have worked just fine. But this idea popped in my head. I was like, oh, I could do it this way. And it would actually be really easy to change. And so it only took me about 10 minutes. And I rewrote the end of this comic book in about 10 minutes. And it just, the reason I bring it up is since we're sitting here drawing them, it's like for those people out there that are like, they have their toe in the water, or they're artists, but they've never, they're interested in making a comic, but they're too apprehensive or scared to, take that plunge and actually, make their own comic book. The fact of the matter is, like, as you're creating comics, there's so many opportunities to change everything. Like, as I'm working on this page right here, I already have the dialogue. Like, I know exactly, I've written the script, so I know all the dialogue that goes into all these panels. But what I've noticed in doing comics is, as you're going through and getting ready to lay the once you're like inked and ready to go, it depends on where you do it in the process. What I like to do is I do my pencils and then I do my inks, and once my ink process is finished, I do all the word balloons and lettering for the dialogue. When I'm in that phase, there's so many times that I change the dialogue, and you can completely Doug TenNapel, the creator of Earthworm Jim, has said before that you can change the entire story without changing the image, the art image in a single panel, just by changing the dialogue in your story. So for people who are like really apprehensive about even, getting into the art form of drawing comics, it's so versatile and easy to fix mistakes in. Just do it, just jump in and do it. Like I'm locked in. I'm story locked. I've got all of my my thumbnails ready to go for the entire 140 page graphic novel, and it was so easy to go in and change my ending. There's just nothing to be scared of. It's hard to fuck up a comic book. All you really have to do is have the time and inclination to do it.
Yep.
You got yourself a comic book.
Yep. And I mean, like I said, I did a big rewrite on the ending of this next one of mine, and it was just sitting down and doing it. And like I said to you last night after we got off the camera, that like you're only going to make these issues once, so you might as well make, if you have an idea somewhere in the middle that you're like, man, this could be way cooler, you're only screwing yourself if you don't take it,
Right. I posted, I don't know if you saw this post I made a couple minutes ago, but I was browsing the Alton Telegraph website to see, I'm kind of trying to keep up with their coverage of the coronavirus shit, just to see, oh, hey, we got another dude. I thought you said you were going to bed, Zach. Zach.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I thought you were going to bed.
I can't hear you all.
You can't hear us? You can't hear me? Zach, buddy. I'm going to have to get on Facebook and talk to him. Hang on. Give me a sec. All right. Zach's having some technical difficulties there. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, I went to the Telegraph website just to follow the coronavirus shit, see how many cases we have here in the county.
Mm-hmm.
They had an article about fucking old Carol Baskins. And apparently in 2010, the Joe Exotic Sideshow came through with the Tigers, and Carol Baskins led the protest against it, and there was so much heat on old Joe Exotic for coming here to Alton Square in Alton, Illinois, that Alton Square banned Tiger.
Hey, dude.
Okay, can you hear me now, Zach?
Huh? That still cannot freaking.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I don't know how to. I don't know how to fix him.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I can ban him.
But real quick before I forget, doesn't it just seem like the perfect place for him to be is Alton Square Mall? Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. And apparently, Carol Baskin used that in her like literature, her anti Joe literature. She said, and he's visited places like Alton Square Mall in Alton, Illinois, with the Tigers because the way the story goes is the manager. I don't know if Zach.
now someone's in an airplane.
What?
You can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's where I just unplugged my headphones, which makes zero sense. I've not got it playing in the background or anything like that. Let me plug this back in. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, how about now?
You know what doesn't make any sense is you telling me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It's good.
You telling me that you're going to bed and then you're popping on the show.
Well, I wasn't completely in bed.
I wasn't completely. What's up, buddy?
Halfway in bed.
Yeah, I was halfway in bed. Nothing. I've just been watching Revenge of the Sis tonight. If you ever watch that show.
Revenge of the what?
Sis. CIS.
No.
I haven't either.
It's kind of just a YouTube stream, probably similar to this, but it's pretty cool.
Revenge of the Sis. Who runs it?
Mersh and Royce Lopez.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. It's a show Jeremy turned me on to, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually sent Jeremy a link for him to come in and hang out with us too.
Is this thing on Facebook too, or just YouTube?
Yeah. Okay. It's just Facebook, actually. It's not YouTube right now. I'll put it on YouTube when it's finished.
Yeah.
You can only pick one source if you don't have the StreamYard subscription. So I always pick the source as Facebook, and then I download it from Facebook and re-upload it on YouTube later.
That might be why it's a little bit different, because I've noticed like it's the black background. It's normally just my full avatar, so I don't know if something. And then plus the sound thing too. The Facebook thing might have something to do with it.
Maybe. So you were watching some YouTube videos.
Yeah, and reading Nathaniel Hawthorne.
How's that going?
Pretty good. I just picked up one of his books. I haven't read him in forever.
I don't think I've read any. What would I have read if I've read Nathaniel Hawthorne in college?
Probably The Scarlet Letter.
Not sure if I ever read The Scarlet Letter. I kind of think I read it in middle school. Is that something I would have read in middle school, or is it too sexual and violent for that?
I wouldn't say it's sexual and violent, but it's more like super like densely written. It's not the type of book even high school kids would read. But
well, it was a different world when I went to school than you went to school, buddy. I read Lord of the Flies in high school. I read fucking Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah, I read him in high school too.
Have you ever read Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut?
No, I've only read Cat's Cradle and Slaughterhouse-Five.
I read it's a short story, and we actually had to read it in middle school. I think it was 7th grade. Harrison Bergeron is the story of a dystopian future where the tyrannical government has declared all humans equal. And the way they enforce equality is if you are taller than other people, they cut your fucking legs off and put you through surgeries to shrink your body down to where you're the same size as short people, so short people feel equal to you. If you're smarter than other people, they put a helmet on you that shocks you intermittently every few minutes to keep your brain activity from being more active than people that are dumber than you. You see where this is going?
Sounds fair.
Well, Harrison Bergeron is the main character of the story. He's a high school kid who is taller, smarter, faster, better looking than everyone, and is just tortured mercilessly by this tyrannical government for being too genetically superior to everyone else. And it is an absolute like stark, protest against the dumbass equality movement. And it was written in like the 1970s.
That'll teach that kid for hot dogging, terrible.
Gonna put this one on my timeline.
Trying to decide if this is going to have a background in here. I don't have a background in here right now. This is this panel. Cousin Susie is explaining to. This panel. Terrence and Susie are brother and sister, and they're arguing with each other in this panel right here because Susie has Wolfram's giving his villain speech about how he's double-crossed the boys and he's going to use them to sacrifice to bring. He's going to use them as human sacrifices to bring Cockhammer back to life, and then Susie actually stabs him in the back with the ritual knife, and then hey, what's up? And she's got her little selfie camera there because she's a webcam thought, and she's actually broadcasting to all of her pay pigs during this whole adventure, which actually is a big funny payoff at the end of the book. But a bunch of degeneracy, Zach.
Yeah, I can't handle all the degeneracy going on here.
Total
so
degeneracy.
Is that like a sequel to the movie Cockhammer?
Yes, this is called this graphic novel is called Cockhammer Lives, and it is a direct sequel to the Cockhammer film.
That's pretty awesome. That's one of my favorite of the old back ones.
Yes, sir. And what it is I really wanted to make this into a movie. Several years after I did Cockhammer, I wanted to do a sequel to it, and I had it all planned out. I didn't write a script or anything, but I had it all planned out for what was going to happen, how it was going to go. And then one of the main actors from Cockhammer, the guy that played Wingate of the the two hitmen, Wolfram and Wingate, he actually tragically died of cancer complications.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I didn't know how to proceed forward with a film version without one of my main actors. So I kind of let the Cockhammer franchise, go quietly into the night. And when I brought back the Hack Movies universe as comic books, I saw just a great opportunity to revisit these old ideas that I had to do sequels for some of these films. And so here we are. And here we go. This will be the first sequel to a Hack Movies feature film. And this is going to be like 140 pages. It's actually really pretty long. It'll be the longest graphic novel I've done yet. I've only done one. But
So you're not going to split it up. You're going to keep it all one graphic novel.
this one's just going to be one. This one's going to come out as one. One full, perfect bound, bookshelf destined graphic novel instead of issues.
So you were talking about the friend that had the cancer complications. Was he one of the duo that's like always went up in Nixon and Hogan in the? It may have just been Cockhammer. I can't remember.
No, not Terrence and Parander. He played.
Okay.
Wingate was the guy that had the long blonde hair and he wore the bowler hat and the Hawaiian shirt, had like a blonde beard. Wolfram and Wingate were the hitmen. They summoned the tranny demons. You remember that scene?
I'm blanking on. Okay, so they were working for Cockhammer.
Yes.
Doing that.
Cockhammer thugs.
Yeah. I vaguely remember. It's been a little while since I've seen it. So what are you working on, Brad?
I am just doodling weirdness again. It's a weird melted looking falling apart face.
When are you going to start working on the book again, Brad?
I worked on it a little bit today, actually. I got it's in one of these sketchbooks. Hold on. pages of it. That's not a comic book page. And here's some of it. This is actually page 1 of the book. He's just sitting there, Jimmy's smoking a joint, and he's celebrating something. And then turn the page, and go get some snacks, go into this little convenience store. So I have today I started messing around with. I'll probably draw them again because I don't really know how I'm going to do it yet as far as like how I want it to look. So I'll just start doodling them until I get it how I want it, but I'm trying to completely figure out how. Where did it go?
Trying to figure out what?
Just get the layout of the page together. I storyboarded them and I like how they look, but then when you take them over to put them on the page, it's always a little bit different. And the last scene, like the big action scene in this book, here's some of them. The big action scene in this book is they climb up this great big cliff and fight off these big crazy birds after these weird mushrooms they need to make this medication for this Sasquatch that has an infected thumb. And so here's some of them. See, they're like in weird like wood look, like it's like armor made out of wood. And then this page here isn't too bad. I might leave a lot of it, but then I got to figure out how I'm going to make him, how I want it to look when he's climbing up the rock. And you see Junior will ride this big Cyclops Yeti's back as they climb the rock.
Yeah.
So here he is, and he's swinging this base of this, I don't know, it's like a bat or a stick or something, beating the brains out of these crazy birds.
Right.
But all this right here, like, I don't really know. I don't, you got to make it look like he's climbing up a rock wall. So I'm trying to decide, like, this right here would be face on, where you'd actually be looking at it from the rock. You know? But I don't know. I'm worried about if I do that, will readers understand that, or are they just going to be like, this guy's climbing up straight air,
Right.
So I'm just going to keep messing around with it until I get it how I like it. But I mean, ideally, I would like to draw it this way because I feel like straight on would be where I could make it look the coolest,
I have a page where I'm moving all around the room. I'll actually find it and show it to you. It's funny the way I decided to draw it.
Confusing. I always worry that, like, is the reader going to follow the movement? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, the beginning of this book, here, I'm going to full screen myself. The beginning of this book, Terrence and Miranda are banging a prostitute, and they're filming it for their internet sex cam website. And Wolfram uses her stomach as a meat portal to climb out of hell. So that's what you see happening here. And then you see how it's kind of all around the room. Different angles of the room. The couch is in different places. The bed that she's laying on, mattress rather that she's laying on, is in different places. Well, see where he's Wolfram's dragging him into the closet there. You see where there's a little like DVD shelf and a TV on this wall. The wall that the closet's on. Well, I have this shot here. Excuse me. I have this shot here. Which one is it? It's another page or two.
I like those boobs hanging over frame, by the way.
I always put the boobs hanging over the frame. No, it's got to be back here earlier. It cracked me up because, let me find it. Excuse me again.
He's just tricking us all into seeing all these crazy. Oh, yeah, it's right back here. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Oh, here it is. It's this shot right here. So now Wingate is free from the butthole, and as you can see the back of the TV. Do you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
This is the fucking wall. This is the closet's right here.
Here, yeah.
The closet's right here. I drew it to where it was like the camera was from that wall going this way towards the room.
See it now.
But then I decided to put the fucking back of the TV in. Like, where is this camera at? If the camera's behind, the TV's right up against the wall. So the wall became completely invisible. And for a minute, I was like, is there a way I could make the inside of the closet right here too? But I didn't think I could. So I ended up just drawing the back of the TV.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's enough, though, to keep your reader grounded as far as understanding where they're moving around the room, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's what I always think about when things like that is, okay, I understand where it is, but I'm the one that's viewing, you know, I'm like, I want it to look like this. You have to think about, does the reader understand where you're moving them and how they're moving, you know? So I'll just keep messing. Once I get those scenes lined out of the climbing up the rock, I'll really be like pretty much majority sailing. But I got to get those scenes looking right, because that's like the big, really action-filled part of the book. So it's got to look. I want it to look, you know, as good as it can.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah.
That one's giving me some kind of like heavily pornographic Evil Dead vibes with the living room for some reason. Makes me think of that dang cabin scene.
Yeah, everything comic has like really big cosmic implications, but almost all of it just takes place in their living rooms. Because I wanted to keep it like the movies. Like the movies were so cheap, and I shot them all in people's living rooms, and it was literally like, you know, my movies were feature-length films, but typically they just involve people sitting around couches talking about each other's buttholes.
Yeah, or like in someone's basement, or like.
And so I wanted to keep that same vibe for the comic books. It's like I could have these comic books take place anywhere, any setting, and I do have some really crazy exotic settings in this comic, but I keep them to a minimum, and I mostly have them just hanging out in each other's living rooms on purpose. What did you say you were working on a script? Did you post on social media, Zach, that you were working on a manuscript?
Yeah, I'm working on a new novel now. I've been kind of writing it and outlining it simultaneously, which is normally how I do it. And it's been going pretty like super well, actually. I've not had the same feeling I've had with this one in a book for a while. And it kind of goes like that for me. It's like I'll start stuff and then stop doing it, and then kind of luck into the one that like it just feels right, and that's the one that ends up getting done.
I do that, and it drives me insane because I have a really strict work ethic where once I start a project, that's my project, and every once in a while I just get fucked up with it, and I can't decide what to work on. Brad actually saw that happen to me right around the time I was working on this book. I had a whole nother book started called The Bad Shark. It's all about this dude who a solar eclipse happens while a comet passes by and turns him into a half human, half shark mutant. And somebody vacuuming there?
Not here.
Is that somebody vacuuming at your house?
No.
Sounds like that.
It might be the dang fan on my computer. It's going crazy.
I was just going to say, it sounds like a fan to me.
That's so weird. It's like, okay, my computer always does this, but it's like it never comes through on the quiet place. But then it's like I come onto this one, and it's like everything's going to hell for some reason.
Weird. But yeah, it's weird. I was working on that Bad Shark, and I started working on the outline like I would any other book or whatever, and I just hit this wall with it, and I just did not want to continue. And Brad was, asking me for so how's it going on the shark book, bro? How's it going on the shark book? And I was like, I can't, and I started trying to make these weird excuses for it. I eventually set it aside and I made that card game, and as soon and I got to a point with the card game where I wanted to do an expansion, and I thought, well, how cool would it be if I made these characters from Cockhammer Lives as an expansion? And so I made expansion cards from this story that was never even written, and I basically was doing character designs for it. And I need to get off of me again. I was basically doing character designs for it for the card game. I was designing these characters for the very first time as drawings, and I liked them so much. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to write the script for Cockhammer Lives and draw that comic next." And I cranked the script, 140-page graphic novel script. I cranked it out in 2 weeks for this book, and then I started working, and then I knocked out the thumbnails and just started working on it. And it was like nothing. It was like pulling teeth trying to work on that shark book, and then like nothing to do this. This came so easily.
Yeah, that's how it goes, because I've kind of got that work ethic too with my writing. And it's like, the thing is, once you start treating it like a job, and you got to walk that dang freaking line between like, waiting for inspiration and actually getting stuff done. And it's like, if sometimes you just have to take the inspiration route, because it's annoying doing the other way.
Well, that's what I'm this blue collar, work every day, work till the day I die kind of a guy. And so I don't believe in things like inspiration. I don't believe in things like the muse. I believe that you put the words on the paper, and then you write the first word, and then you follow it up with the second word. And eventually you get to the last word. But sometimes, dude, I just cannot get those words out.
Well, I think you got to mix the two. It's like you can be working on a dead thing and it's still going to stay dead. You just kind of have to know when to cut that off and go on to something that's more alive.
It's like a pride thing where sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get me off a project because I'm so hard-headed, and I'm like, no, I can write anything. I can write anything. In fact, the award I won in college for the short story that I wrote called God's Act, that story was written based on a prompt in class, in a creative writing class I took in college. And the prompt was called The First Line. So everybody in that class wrote a story with that exact same first line that's in that story. And it was online. So there's probably thousands of stories out there that start with that first line because it's for an online writing contest. My story won an award with that first line. And so that's my work ethic. That's me saying, like, you can even give me the first line. You can even throw some generic first line at me, and I'll write an award worthy story out of it. Like that's part of what I consider my greatest strength as a writer, is to be able to just fucking write anything. And yet every once in a while, even old that bitch Kevin Baskin gets caught up in caught up with that horrible, I guess, writer's block is what you call it.
You came off of doing that card game on fire, though.
Oh my god, I had so much fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like from the time I've been, back talking to you and working with you, that's the most fun I've seen you have, was that card game. So you were getting to pretty much draw versions of all these characters and
for all my movie characters,
cartoon form,
because eventually I want to do an animated series out of Strangeville and turn all these characters into actual cartoons. So the card game was my first opportunity to really cartoonize or tune all my characters.
Yeah, it was
the character design for what will eventually be the Strangeville animated series.
Because I know I talked to you at one point, and you were like, "Oh, I got about 12 of them done." And I talked to you just not much later, and you were like, "Oh, I got like 40 of them."
Yeah,
done. Jeez, man, you sleeping?
Oh yeah, I cranked that out. I'm cranking this out too. I'm up to will be page 54 when I'm done with all this.
Yeah, I told Amanda last night I got to get going on this comic, or Kevin's gonna lap me again with a book that's longer than mine, even.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up starting on my next book. Yeah, I got this 160 page.
And
story about tigers.
I'm on page 38.
I got this new graphic novel about tigers and meth. Zach, have you watched Tiger King, or are you doing?
I've seen all the dang memes and stuff about it, and I know pretty much the gist of it. It's something else.
Yeah, it is. I didn't know if you were being a contrarian. Like I'm above watching documentaries about gay meth heads that own tiger sanctuary.
I would never consider that. To me, like, that's what life's about, man. Documentaries about wild meth head, gunslinging tiger homosexuals.
It's so crazy.
To be honest, I've been too busy watching all the Corona documentaries that are freaking flooding YouTube right now.
Are there a bunch of those?
Yeah,
there's a bunch of takes. Like the one at Truth Stream Media was pretty good. We're living in 12 monkeys or whatever.
Oh, I started watching that. That was, oh man, those quotes, those lines of dialogue rather from Brad Pitt, man, that's crazy, spooky.
Oh yeah, it is. And I kind of hate, like, you kind of get that stigma because people will make fun of you if you're saying, like these shows or whatever predicted all these things. But just when you look at it and see that it actually happens, it's freaky. Like 12 Monkeys. I'm trying to think of the other one that was just eerie that popped up in one of the docs, but if I remember it, I'll bring it up.
Have you ever seen 12 Monkeys, Brad?
No, I don't think so.
It's like a future. It's a time travel. It's a time travel movie. It's starring Brad Pitt, but he shows up in this, like, crazy. You tell him what it's about, Zach.
Oh, I've actually not seen 12 Monkeys. I just saw that documentary.
No.
They pretty much explain it, but yeah, that's definitely one worth watching. I'm still on the fence. Like, I don't know what to believe about coronavirus at this point.
That's how I think I am too.
I watched some stuff today that was pretty informative, and it's this thing's going to play out. It's going to play out to where it's basically no more deadly than a seasonal flu, and we overreacted like crazy over it. And the only question is, was it good that we overreacted because we were trying to save lives, or was it really bad that we overreacted because more people died from the coming poverty depression that we're going to create from turning off our economy? That's basically the two takes.
Well, the third one, I think the overreaction was basically on purpose. I mean, it's kind of hard not to think in that direction, seeing how the dang media is like kind of hyping it up. Like, I think you posted about it one time. It's like every stupid talking head's like, this is the new normal, and they're trying to push this kind of cashless stuff, and they're trying to
they're trying to push this crazy authoritarian culture on us, and the thing is the American people will never accept that. You can scare us for a little bit, but I was out in a neighborhood earlier today, and all the kids in the neighborhood are still playing together, and all the neighbors in the neighborhood are sitting on each other's porch talking and everything. They don't give a fuck. And the thing is I don't think that they're bad people. There's a lot of Karens out there that are trying to scold people and like literally calling the cops on their neighbors. They ain't social distancing. I'm going to get sick. At a certain point, people have to decide if, what? The world isn't a fucking playpen. There are dangers out there. And are you going to live your life? Are you going to, drunk Ben's up in this chat. Ben, are you drunk tonight?
Wait, where is he? Is he on yet?
He's in the chat.
Oh.
Zach, now you sound like you're in a cave.
I don't know what's going on tonight. It's so freaking weird.
Look, it sounds like there's a beast growling behind you.
There probably freaking is.
Sober and making egg rolls, Ben says. Well, Ben, we're talking about the...
that Ben. I thought you meant Ben Arzon.
No. we're talking about the overreaction to coronavirus, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. I might die from coronavirus. This, we might be doing these shows. These might be some of the last shows I ever do because tomorrow I could come down ill and die from this thing. But here's the thing. I will have died a free man, and dying a free man is far more important to me than living a safe life as a slave. And that's just my opinion. I'm not.
But also tomorrow you could have a stroke, have a heart attack, get in a car wreck. There's all the. I mean, you could die. Any day could be your last day before coronavirus and after coronavirus.
Which is why what's most important to me isn't safety, because like you just said, there's no such thing as safe.
No,
safety is an illusion. So if you tell me, well, we're going to take away some of your basic rights as an American, but we're going to keep you really, really safe. I don't want to be. You know where the safest place? You know where the safest place to be is? Prison.
Right.
They give you a home. You don't have to pay any bills. There's a particular time you have to wake up, a particular time you have to go to bed.
Go to school for free.
That protect you.
You can go to school for free.
There's a lot of reasons why.
They come with a free gym membership.
Absolutely.
There's a lot. Sounded freaking awesome.
There's a lot of reasons why being in prison is safer than anywhere else. But who wants to be in prison? Well, the answer is a lot of people would be okay with being in prison. I'm not one of those people. So I have been being really indignant about this lockdown, but it's only because at the end of the day, I value my freedom over my safety, and it could get me killed, and I'm okay with that.
I'm with you on that. To be honest, typically I'm really lax about a lot of doomsday / conspiracy stuff because I get into that all the time. This is one I'm not really pessimistic about it, but it's kind of that seeing it play out in live time thing. And I really think that they're going to start pushing a lot of freaking just crazy stuff and making this be the new normal. Like maybe a couple months from now, people are still just, acting out the social distancing stuff. To me, that's just, I don't know. And honestly, I'm kind of scared to see what it's going to do to academia and small businesses after this. Well, scratch that. I don't care what it does to academia. I care about small business.
Ben says, "People, do I want him to get drunk?" Yes, we always enjoy drunk Ben. Always enjoy drunk Ben. So I keep hearing about bills being passed that contain gun infringement for no reason. Well, there's always I'm trying to do this without being political about it, but
be political. But
when there is when legislation is being passed that's supposed to be for your safety, they will always infringe on your rights. The government doesn't know how to create safety without taking away freedom. So that'll happen 100% of the time.
Honestly, though, I think the best take I've seen on it is that, you can kind of put the virus in another category. It's like, no matter what happens, they had some kind of evil plan in a filing cabinet. And once there's the slightest rumor of this, something crazy like a virus going on, they take out this plan, and now they're just acting according to a script.
It's a power grab for whatever happens, whatever crisis, whether it be a manufactured crisis or an honest to God crisis, because there's still a lot of people that believe this thing was originated with a bat in Wuhan, China, that it just spontaneously jumped from bat soup and became a flu.
Well, see, that's the thing. I
also heard something about it coming from snake eggs.
Well, yeah. I saw a thing about the bat that, the type of bat that they said that it came from wasn't typically sold in that market, but it was, that type of bat was used as a test subject at some kind of freaking Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Yeah, there's a virology institute in Wuhan, China, that basically its whole purpose is to experiment with viruses and bioweapons, basically. And so the theory is that it escaped from the the facility. Whether it escaped on purpose, whether it escaped by accident, is up to you to it's conjecture either way. But the idea that it was a jumped from a bat soup into people is just, that doesn't make any logical sense to me. Maybe a virologist could explain it better, how that happens, but it doesn't seem like a thing to me. But
yeah, I find that hard to believe, considering it went from there to literally being all over the world in just a couple months. If it's just something, kind of isolated to a freaking food market.
I read a thing that said patient number one was a live, like they worked at a fish market in Wuhan, China, and that was patient number one, they thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's two concurrent theories going on. There's like I said, that's like the mainstream narrative is that it came from this wet market of Chinese selling live animals to eat live, which is considered unsanitary to Westerners, but common to Easterners. And then there's the other theory that it's actually man-made and came from the institute down the street from the market. Okay, here's more Ben. A big issue I see too is with this is all the celebrities taking up all the tests, even though they aren't showing any symptoms, and as a result, aren't leaving any for regular people. Well, I think with the testing scarcity is that's kind of at its end. I think we have plenty of tests here now. Early on, yeah, it was just like rich people that were getting the test, but that's not. I mean, does that surprise anybody? Brad, are you surprised that rich people got something poor people didn't get?
No, and I also think though that sometimes our government uses stars to sue the people. Like if they can get Tom Hanks to say he's got it, and then you see him looking healthy and flying around, then the people are like, oh, they
must not be so bad.
Yeah, I think that I really believe that they use like celebrities like that sometimes, because it's like no one wants to watch the news, but they'll pay attention to what's going on with Honey Boo Boo's mom.
Absolutely. So, although I don't think anybody knows who Honey Boo Boo is anymore. I think you dated yourself there.
Yeah, probably, but I'm okay with that because people should know.
People should fucking know.
That's like a never should be forgotten thing,
And never forget Honey Boo Boo.
That shit was on the Learning Channel. Explain that fucking shit to me.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think I figured it out. It's like y'all are talking, but it's still showing, like, every time you all talk, like the little sound thing on my avatar kind of vibrates or whatever. I don't get how that's happening, because that means that somehow
your speakers are picking us up.
Yeah, I don't get how, because I have headphones plugged in.
You do have headphones on right now?
Yeah.
That's pretty weird.
Well, see, it just stopped doing it. Yeah, I don't know. I've never had that problem with the other ones I've done. I'm not really sure what's going on in that.
It doesn't matter. We're all good. These shows, people are kind of like, a few years ago, people were really worried about quality of live streams and YouTube videos, because they were thought they were in competition with network television and stuff. Mm-hmm. People are so used to the technical glitches and weirdness and echoes and pixelation that come with live streams. They don't really give a shit. Not really a big deal.
Yeah, and I saw a thing the other day that a lot of the YouTube and stuff, they're only allowing video to go up at standard res right now. The extra lag on the internet and
so much.
So I don't even think you can stream in crazy high definition right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were talking all about that on that Revenge of the Sis. It kind of annoyed them.
Revenge of the Sis.
Yeah, I've honestly been addicted to that dang show ever since Jeremy told me about it. It's like probably the most easily watchable show on YouTube that I've seen.
Text Jeremy and tell him to get in here because we're not going to do this show much longer. We don't do 4-hour-long shows like you guys do.
Yeah, we do 6-hour shows. We're better than that.
Yeah, we draw a page or two and get out. We're not. You look at me and Brad. We have faces for radio and voices for print.
Did you text him on Goodreads or on his cell phone?
His cell phone.
We're not built for endurance anymore.
Yeah, we're also not built for endurance. We're gonna have to take a nap.
Right. Pencil's getting awfully heavy.
Yeah, that's why I started doing all my creative stuff. Like I can't do it at night. I have to find some time during the day to do it.
Well, I'm typically a morning worker, but I'm also a workaholic. So it's midnight now. I've been working on comics since. Well, I got up about 6:30 a.m. and did a couple of pages, and then took a nap, and then I got going again about 5 p.m. and I've been working basically since 5 p.m. I've been drawing comics. So what is that? 7 more hours?
Oh, goddamn day.
So I'm at the tail end of a 7-hour shift plus a morning shift before that. So this is like I
usually draw, I don't know, probably 6 to 10 hours a day. Fairly commonly, sometimes more.
I pretty much sit here and this is all I do. If I could just not ever do anything but sit here at this table and draw comics, that's pretty much all I would do.
That is a commendable work ethic. I don't really know how many hours I clock in doing my stuff.
When I write fiction, it's like it's a lot more mentally. It's weird. It's like it uses a different part of your brain than art does.
Yeah, see, I don't quantify it with time as much as I do getting, my word count in.
Right. And I always found that I could crank a word count doing fiction. I could crank on a word count, but get the work done in about 2 or 2.5 hours. But then mentally, I'm just like sapped, just done. If I do 2.5 hours of fiction writing, I pretty much can't do any fiction writing for the rest of the day. When it comes to drawing comics, I can work as long as I have. Like I can work as long as I'm willing to sit at the table is how long I can draw. I never get tired.
Yeah, that's definitely true because I don't draw at all, but it's like I guess it's just when you're kind of coming up with like new stuff like as fast as you can type, it just kind of wears you down quicker. Whereas on drawing, you're kind of just not relaxing, but it's like you're kind of zeroing in, just getting it perfect.
It is relaxing to me. This honestly it's a relaxing.
The second I stop drawing, I start having anxiety and shit. I'm like, it keeps the brain busy.
Yeah, I wish I could draw. Fiction's pretty much the only thing I'm good at.
Well, I'm not very good at drawing, but I was a lot worse before I started practicing every day. So it's not this isn't something that I thought that I could ever do. If you would have told me 3 years ago that I'd be writing and illustrating 140-page graphic novels, I would have told you were insane. I can't draw. I can't draw that. There's no way I can do that.
Well, dude, when I was in freaking elementary school, they were freaking the teachers were hovering over me because my handwriting and my drawing skills were so horrible.
Yeah.
So I've just never taken it up after that. It's like they were basically like, there's got to be something wrong with you because your handwriting is like just pretty much the worst in the class.
My handwriting is atrocious.
I have terrible handwriting too. And my art teachers in high school, one of my stories about drawing, one of the reasons that I took so many years off of drawing was because basically I moved schools from my sophomore year in high school to my junior year. I moved schools and I told and art was all I wanted to do was be a comic book artist. I was obsessed with comics. I was obsessed with drawing. And I got into, I had finished Art 1 at my old school, and I was going to sign up for Art 2 at the new school, but they put me in Art 1 by mistake. And so the very first day I met the art teacher at the new school I went up to him and said, "Hey, there's a mistake. I already took this class. I need to be in Art 2. And he said, "Well, do you have a sketchbook?" I said, "Yeah, I work on a sketchbook every day." And he looked at my skechbook and he flipped through 2 or 3 pages and he said, "You're in the right class." He handed it back to me. And he was a fucking dick to me and I finished that class. I took his Art 2. I did everything I was supposed to fucking do. And that dude never gave me a fucking break. Never cut me a break. We did not get along. We clashed really bad. He was one of those weird high school art teachers who he wanted to be cool like he thought he was one of the kids in the class, and he wanted to be the coolest kid in the class. Like, you could not out cool this guy. So he saw me as like a threat because I was real big into, heavy metal music and tattoos and all that stuff.
What I found, it's not because I had a ton of teachers like that in high school too. They had, like, the English teachers hated me. It's not that they care that like you're into something. It's that like all the normal kids in the class, it's kind of like another peer group. But then you're like the lone one out of them that's actually serious about it. And somehow they think that's weird. And I don't get it because they got a freaking degree in it.
Yeah. So he was always like challenging me, and he was always like trying to prove to me he was the alpha male between the two of us. And he just turned me off. Like, he made me feel so shitty about my art. And there were other kids in the school. This was like before I had the attitude that you don't compare yourself to others, only compare your work to the work that you did before. Never compare yourself to someone else's work. Before I had that attitude, there were like so he had like these class, not in the class with me, but in the school, there were these stud artists that also wanted to be comic book artists and also collected Image Comics and Spawn and Savage Dragon and the Max and all the cool Image Comics that I liked. But they could draw just like those comics, and I couldn't yet. And I just got discouraged. I said, well, he likes them, and they're way fucking better than me. And they're already light years ahead of me. Like, we're all only 16, and they could be professional comic book artists right now. And I can't. Like, I'm not there. I need a lot of work. And so I quit. And it's one of my biggest regrets in life up to this point was that I had quit art. But I moved into filmmaking, and then I, obviously it turned out that I had like a real specialty knack for fiction writing. Fiction writing came more natural than anything to me. It was so easy for me to do. But this is what my passion was all through my grade school, middle school, and high school years. And so to be sitting here right now and being able to draw comics, and they're still not very good. I mean, these are not fantastic pieces of artwork by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. I'm comparing the page I drew today to the page I drew yesterday. And I'm just trying to get a little bit better. I'm trying to make this page a little bit better than I made the page yesterday.
Yeah, that's the way you do it, because especially in writing, I'd say it's probably worse than comics, but it seems like people come up with a really weird standard for quality in writing that doesn't make any sense. It's like they'll kind of flip-flop around from show don't tell is the main rule to some other random freaking rule is the main rule.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, where in writing it's such an intangible.
Yeah.
It's intangible. So people make up weird rules, and rules change based on what's popular in fiction and what's popular in culture. And with drawing, the same thing can be true, where like if you look at like Cartoon Central or Adult Swim, the type of comic or the type of like animation art that's real popular right now is horribly shitty. It is like rudimentary, crappy, and simple. But that hasn't always been the case. So each generation, what type of art is trendy changes. Sometimes it's hyper detailed, sometimes it's really cartoony. But it's easy to see it. It's easy to say, here's the style that's popular, draw like this. And then artists will emulate that. With writing, it's so much harder to pinpoint what is actually happening on the page because so much of fiction is the mind of the reader creating what's on the content of the story being told.
But there's also always things that are trendy to draw. Like, have you noticed that on Instagram?
Doing that.
It's nothing but like Rick and Morty and The Simpsons, and it's just over and over and over the same stuff. Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to draw shit. I mean, if it's something that I'm actually really into, like Ren and Stimpy or something like that, but I'm not gonna just draw just because there's some new show that's popular and you know that if you hashtag that you're gonna get a bunch of people liking it. But there's so many Rick and Morty pieces and the Simpsons pieces on Instagram that it's just like, all right, we get it, you know.
Yeah, but like you said, those are people chasing the likes.
Yeah, they're chasing hashtags, you know. Like I've been seeing a shitload of fucking Joe Exotic drawings. Like that.
Yeah, Joe Exotic is doing it, and I'm not sick of it yet. So I still think they're really funny.
Yeah. I'm trying to fight the urge to stay true to how I am and not do a Joe Exotic drawing because it's so hard to not. But
what I like about Tiger King and the popularity of Tiger King right now is just that it's a thing that is organically fucking weird that happened to catch on in pop culture. There's a big difference between something that's trendy that was clearly manufactured and artificial and something that just catches on because of how batshit fucking weird it really truly is. Yeah. And to me, like Tiger King's never going to get old because it's so fucking weird all on its own. It's not riding any kind of wave of any trendiness. Now you'll see a bunch of Tiger King ripoffs. Mm-hmm. We'll now see a bunch of documentaries about really weird people, just as that are going to spawn off of Tiger King. But this thing is so like innocently weird that it's not something I think I'll ever get sick of.
No, I mean just the idea that these people are calling themselves animal activists, but then fighting to get the animal rights laws in their state demolished.
Yeah.
Like, what? You know?
Man, I'm going to have to check this thing show out y'all talking about it.
Oh, dude, it's so weird. These people are so fucked up.
So is it like a true crime thing too or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's everything.
It is, yeah. It's
everything, Zach. It's fucking
everything, yeah.
It's an animal rights documentary. It's a true crime documentary. It's a cult of personality documentary.
He's like Joe Exotic is like a homosexual Hunter S. Thompson that was spliced with Dogs of Bounty Hunter, and then like dipped in like I don't know, some sort of like Trailer Park Boys lifestyle or something. That the guy, just him as a character is like you couldn't have made a character like that. You know, he's just extremely strange.
Yeah, it does seem to have kind of a, I don't know why, it gives me kind of a Rob Zombie feel, and I know it's nothing like that.
He's got more leather fringe jackets than Bon Jovi, so that's pretty impressive.
There's a shot of his closet at one point, and there's so many fucking jackets.
Yeah, it's just that scene right there is what I was just thinking about. You just see like probably a good 14 or 15 of all these different leather tassel jackets. The guy wears like turquoise like bolo ties, and he's got like John Wayne's gun belt hanging off of his side all the time.
And he's just the main character. There's so many weirdos on the show. There's two. Are there more than two? There are at least two. What do you call that? People that don't have limbs.
Amputee.
There's at least two amputee characters.
Yeah, I said that about halfway through it. Is like, I don't know that I've watched a show where there's this many amputees. You know, I mean, the one girl gets her arm bit off like while they're like, you see
Oh,
her.
they're filming.
Yeah, while
They're filming the show.
yeah.
So do y'all think he's innocent of whatever it is they're saying he did? I don't know anything about it. I just know.
Nobody on the show is innocent of anything.
Anything.
They are pieces of shit that deserve everything that's happening.
You think they're guilty of more than they're
Yeah, they're guilty of more than they even talk about on the show. They're all pieces of shit. They all deserve whatever the fuck they get.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Like I mean, the show. It's like, I don't know. It makes me feel bad to like give it as much attention as it gets, but fuck all those people, really.
Yeah,
like,
fuck. Well, there's a couple people that are just, I guess, just working there that are kind of innocent.
The one kid that looks like he's super nerdy and might be 12 years old. He's wearing like, you know who I'm talking about? I can't think of his name.
The campaign.
Yeah, he like ran their campaign.
Yeah, he's like, well, I ran his campaign and then I just never left.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem like that bad of a person or something, but I mean, he doesn't. He's like that. One of these things is not like the other. You're like, what are you doing here, man? You know,
the guy that witnessed the accidental suicide.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, the guy that the dude walks in his office, talks to him, says that he doesn't have enough marijuana, and then blows his brains out right in front of him
on camera.
On camera, yeah. Pretty interesting. I just wouldn't go back to work if that, you know, like. And then the TV, his TV station, and I say that loosely, TV station got blown up.
Blown up, yeah. I definitely think he's guilty of that. I think Joe Exotic blew up his own.
Yeah, I said that.
Alligators.
But I guarantee you did that. Sorry. Plus, he got like a way better and nicer one built for him for pretty much free. You know.
Yep.
Wonder if it would have gotten as popular as it is without everyone like stuck home watching Netflix.
Absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. This is a phenomenon, just that happened because of the lockdown, and you couldn't like plan it any better.
Nope.
I hate that the dang West Memphis 3 stuff's still on my mind, but every clip I've seen of Joe Exotic, he reminds me exactly of that dang father, the kind of loud one.
Oh, yeah. I forget. What the hell is his name?
Mark Byers, I think.
Yeah, John Mark Byers.
Yeah.
A little less sinister, although I would say that John's probably done less in his life to break the law than Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic is a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's just a full-on con.
Shit.
Yeah. There's a few people on that documentary that I like. If there's a long-haired, blonde-headed dude, and then actually the girl that gets her arm bit off, I feel like they're there just because they fell in love with those tigers. Yeah, and I think that they feel responsible for them. I don't really think they're like quite as shitty as I actually think they're probably a way better people because they're trying to take care of these animals that this dude just gets and breeds and then doesn't give a fuck about. But right. Those two people are a little bit more they're just there because of those cats, and they made like a commitment to those cats, and it seems like they care about them. But pretty much anyone else that he brings in, like that dude from Vegas, is a piece of crap.
Oh my god, that guy fucking that guy's got it coming.
Yeah, they're all just pieces of, for the most part. And then like that Carol Baskin woman, she really is a piece of shit too.
I've seen more memes and stuff about her than any other character.
Because she's the worst of the worst. And the reason she's the worst is because she's the sanctimonious one. She acts like she's above it all. Mm-hmm. She acts like she's this morally perfect character who she has morally perfect character. She doesn't do any wrong. And she's just, trying to save the animals. Bullshit. She got rich off big cats, and she got rich off feeding her husband to him.
Yeah. And then that new guy that she married, like, he must be a psycho. Like, if you meet a girl and she's like, I have a husband that's missing, and there's a rumor that I fed him to cats, I'm like, see you later. Like, I don't know. I don't see myself ever being that lonely, but I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
You fed your ex to cats, huh? Well, what are you doing later?
Oh, what are you doing later? You remember that picture of him where she's got him dressed up like a cat on a leash?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, and we haven't even begun. Like, think about there's that weird guy that got in trouble for stuffing cocaine into snakes.
Sounds like they realized
the guy that says I was literally the inspiration for Scarface.
Yes, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking piece of shit too. He's like, yeah, I was there when they chopped up a federal agent with a fucking saw, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. I was there when they were stuffing these fucking snakes full of cocaine, but I didn't actually stuff them, you know? Yeah, there's just, and that's what I mean. Like, you can talk about it forever and then forget a character like that you're like, this guy should be one of the weirdest and worst people you've ever heard of, but you forget about him because of all these other degenerates, you know?
Yeah, I'm checking this thing out tomorrow. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
although I can't lie, it sounds like it's more depressing than entertaining.
I mean,
it's really funny. It's just
it is. It's sad that it is what it is, but like, you know, it's one of those things where we didn't make it that way. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of sadness in it, I guess, but I mean, people make their own decisions, and
yeah, they all deserve what they fucking get. So it's not, you know, if you feel bad for Joe Exotic by the end of it, there's something wrong with you.
If you feel bad for any of them, honestly, like. The only people I found myself feeling bad for was, like I said, those, like, the people that I feel like are really there just trying to take care of the cats. You know?
And the cats. You could feel bad for the cats.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Man, speaking of weirdos, we're getting that dang flat earther tape next on I think Sunday.
I saw that. He's already got the preview show up.
Yeah.
I talked to him on the phone. I talked to Jeremy on the phone earlier. He said he was going to come on, but he must think that we're going to do a 10-hour marathon and be here all night.
Nah, those shows go on like it. Most of them I can do the whole thing and be fine and actually more energized afterwards. But there have been a couple of them where I've just about conked out during the end.
I like doesn't Gregor and Ben usually just tie one? Don't they just tie one on really early in the night and just ride it out drunk the whole time?
I don't know about Gregor. Ben has every now and then, especially that dang first time that the flat earther dude came on and he got drunk and I was just yelling at him. And it was golden too, because like it was so organic. Like he was just, it's hilarious. Like watching it happen live was just amazing.
And he's going to come back? The flat earth guy's going to come back?
I think this dude lives for that stuff. He likes getting people, you know, yelling at him and whatnot, so he can kind of have some big brain moments.
Ben's in the chat. He says, different Ben. He says he feels bad. That show just makes me feel sad for the animals. Yeah. I mean, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, there should be. I mean, nobody should be allowed to own like 200. I mean, I don't think anyone should have one tiger personally, but nobody should
see owning one.
I think that you should have to have certain license, and I don't think that just you should be able to go get a tiger and not have to really be like. I think that you should have to have some sort of special like handler's license or something to have an animal like that. But
yeah, there's a meme that's like, I can't believe I've lived my whole life and I never realized I only needed, you know, fucking $2,500 to own a fucking tiger.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the, I know that Mike Tyson always had tigers, and I know there's also been a few like other actors that had them and shit, but they would have like one or two. You know, this dude's, I think, didn't they say there's like 270 or something on that
crazy number of cats on there? Did you text Jeremy?
Yeah, I sent him the Goodreads message. And you said you texted him on his phone, so it's pretty much covered. He's probably in bed or something.
He hasn't messaged you back?
No.
Ben says, I agree with you, though, Kevin. Everyone on the show is bad, and they got rich off pimping the poor cats. Yes, they did.
That's kind of what I was saying. To give it like so much, because that dude Joe's such an egomaniac that like he's gonna love that he's just blowing up, you know? All like it's just gonna feed his fucking sickness. And I could totally see him winding up getting out of jail way before they say he should, you know?
Yeah, sure.
That's how it is. Like somebody will start funneling a whole bunch of money into getting him out and he'll be fucking walking around not too long, you know.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is the one time it didn't work was that Making a Murderer show, which pretty much laid out a really good reason why that dude got framed for murder. It's pretty much a no-brainer that guy is a pretty big piece of shit and maybe a rapist, but it almost certainly was railroaded by those local cops as a rape or as a murderer. And that dude's still in jail. That dude didn't get shit out of that show.
I think the biggest shame of the Tiger King show is that he's the only one of them sitting in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I've always
one dude, what's his name? Doc, whatever.
Yeah,
he's like going and getting like 14-year-old girls and like pretty much like what do they call that? Where he's like getting them ready to, as soon as they turn 18, he fucks them and marries them, you know?
Grooming them, yeah.
He's like, and that's straight up what he's doing, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's got, what's he got, like 7 or 8 wives there? That's the other thing is all those,
they're all polygamous. They all have multiple partners.
Yeah, apparently if you have a bunch of cats and do enough crystal meth, you're not able to have just one person, you know? And then I love that they keep saying Joe doesn't date gay guys, but it's like, if the guy's having sex with you like that, then he's gay, you know? Like, how do you? I don't know.
One of my favorite memes is you're not fully gay. You're not fully gay until you marry Joe Exotic.
Right. It's like, how are they not gay? You know, they're married. They're married to him.
They are married to him. How are they not gay?
How are they not gay? You know, it's just, it makes their families for some reason feel better that, you know.
He wasn't really gay. He only sucked Joe's dick because of them cats.
Yeah, and I have no issue with people being gay. I don't care at all. But I'm just saying that those dudes are gay. You know,
gay as fuck.
Like, I don't have any issue with it. But to say those men that he's dating are straight, like you can't say that man.
The men that he's married to.
Yeah. No, the guy that I'm married to is straight, you know. Yeah. Just a little confusing, but I don't know. I didn't write the rule book, I guess, so I don't know exactly. But
the sad part is this sounds like freaking more of a normal show for Netflix, considering all the weird stuff they've been putting out recently.
The degenerate stuff. Well, they don't make any of this look. They don't make it look glamorous at all. They make all of them look like pieces of shit.
Yeah, well, like I don't know if you heard earlier, but they literally interview one of them while he's in a bathtub.
Yeah, I'm off. Check this freaking weirdo show out.
And the bad thing is, there was so much going on that I didn't even think about him being in the bathtub till he was on the screen in the tub for like a good solid 5 minutes, and I was like, "This motherfucker's in the bathtub," you know? Like, why? Like, you know, that guy doesn't have a bathtub.
So what is this? What's this manuscript you're working on?
It's more another more of a literary comedy thing. I'd started a Bizarro thing and got about probably 7,000 or 8,000 words into it, and I just wound up chucking that one, starting this one. Now I'm further ahead along in it.
Do people still write Bizarro? Is there any outlet for Bizarro?
I don't know. It's confusing, but to be honest, I don't really care. I'm just sticking with my weird literary things from now on, which I put literary in quotes. I don't even know what that means as far as like genre specifics go. It's just what I say.
Literary means non-commercial. Literary means stuff no one reads.
Yeah, it's basically me.
This is a scene where Susie has. Hang on, let me full screen this. Susie's now revealed herself. She's followed him to Cockhammer's crypt. She's stabbed Wolfram, prevented him from killing her brother and his best friend. And now and Wolfram's like trying to understand who the fuck she is. And then her butt plug starts buzzing, and she hands him her selfie stick. She hands Wolfram the villain her selfie stick so she can talk to her pay pigs while they're blasting her butt plug there. And Cockhammer's melty corpse lays on the altar.
Dude, the freaking funniest thing about the Cockhammer movie, I thought, was how he just threw up at like every weird OCD moment.
Yeah, he has extreme OCD and throws up when things don't go his way.
Yeah, I don't think Jeremy's going to be joining us.
No, I wasn't even going to do a second page, but I'm all hogging the fucking air again. Let's see. Brad, you're just nailing this thing out.
Yeah, tonight.
Where'd you go?
That looks pretty cool.
What is this?
No, melted zombie guy with a brain and a switchblade. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just this. Well, I got this.
Okay.
It was probably.
That's your Chinese switchblade?
Yeah. No, this one is not my. This is the one that I was afraid I was going to die to get. But
isn't it ironic that we were worried about the packages we were getting from China, only to have our entire country overrun with coronavirus a couple weeks later?
Yeah, now the motherfuckers are sitting in China like, should we order anything from America?
Yeah, exactly. Completely irrelevant that we were going to buy stuff from China.
So do you have comics out, Brad, or you just do like a...
Yeah, I have a comic book out. It's called Life with Riggs. Hold on 1 second. It's right here. This is my first issue of my book. And you can get it at, right now you can get it on Etsy. I might be pulling it off there pretty soon though, because I think I'm going to do a Indiegogo campaign for my second one, and I think I'm going to make this first one like a perk, you know. But right now it is still on there. Yeah, that's my first book comic I've ever made. So.
Yeah, me and Brad did our first comics right around the same time.
So were you both like involved in the whole Comicsgate thing, or is that not even a thing anymore?
Just me. That wasn't. Brad doesn't even know what you're talking about.
I'm not involved in anything, man. I'm like a hermit for the most part. Nobody knows me, and I don't really know many people. But what is Comicsgate? I think someone was talking about that on our the other night. So
yeah, I had Skinny on here. He was involved in the Comicsgate drama. It was just basically a group of people on Twitter who were advocating for the big two, Marvel and DC, to quit fucking around and making SJW comics and making just like really politically charged comic books, and instead just get back to the glory days of comic books where they made comics for fans, that, you know, the kind of comics that fans wanted. Mm-hmm. And it turned into a big shit show. Basically, it turned into a big bunch of drama.
I try to avoid giant shit shows as much as possible.
There's a dude that sort of took over the Comicsgate label that's like the Joe Exotic of comic book dudes. He's a piece of shit. He's a con artist. He's also raised almost, other than Doug, he's raised almost the most money anybody's ever raised doing comic books, but people have like started to figure out that he's probably like money laundering.
Yeah.
And it's not actually real, like organic customers that are sending all that money through his.
You're not supposed to be doing this for money laundering purposes.
Right. But Doug, the reason I found the Comicsgate people was Doug was involved with them for a little bit. Doug was promoting Bigfoot Bill 1 through Comicsgate, and then he kind of figured out that they were all shady, and he quit. And now, to this day, they still fuck with Doug. they still do horrible videos about him and like try to ruin his reputation and try to get his books taken off Indiegogo. And
I'm sure that worked for a while for him.
it's a bunch of bullshit. So that's the comic hate drama that he's talking
So
about.
much fucking toxic shit out there. I just wish people could just fucking. I know it sounds dumb as shit, but just be nice to each other.
Yeah, well, it's what we were talking about on the other night's show with those other guys. It's like it seems like if there's a group of people on the internet, this is what it turns into. Like if you try to formalize an actual group on the internet, it turns to shit.
Yeah.
It's okay, the internet. We can sit here and hang out and be friends. The moment we try to turn this into some kind of a movement, it goes to complete shit. Some grifter comes in and with a little bit of money and influence and takes it over, corrupts it, ruins it.
I don't know, man. I think that I'm never like jealous to see other people succeed, and especially not my friends. I love seeing my friends succeed.
Right, exactly.
I never. I don't know. I don't deal with that. I don't ever think of it as a competition. It's
Right.
like you can't, like, I don't know. You can't what someone else is doing and what you're doing. You can't sit here and say, it would be like saying, well, this person puts out this much a year and I only put out half of that. So I don't ever think about that shit.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like you got to get to a point as a creative person where you realize, or any kind of goals that you set. As a goal-oriented person, you have to realize that the only person you're in competition with is yourself.
Yeah, it don't matter what someone else is doing or how much they've done. But yeah, man, everybody, it seems like in the world is toxic, and not everybody, but there's a lot of it, I guess.
I have that System of a Down song, Toxicity, stuck in my head now.
Yeah.
The toxicity in my city.
I just love that one. My tapeworm tells me what to do.
Right. Things are looking good over here in Strangeville. Things are looking good there with you too, Brad.
Yeah, handful of brain, fucking switchblade.
Yeah, I'm not the only one on here that didn't write or draw. Be honest, I don't know why, but it's like I can't get into comics like I can books and movies. I think it's where I just wasn't raised on them.
It either grabs you or it doesn't, just like anything else. It grabbed me early because I love monsters and I love weird mutants and creatures, and the comic book medium was just the perfect place for me to find all those monsters and stuff. I love monster movies, of course, but comic books have just because I was raised with the 1990s Image comic books, and one of the big things about Image was they did anti-heroes. So you had all these characters like Savage Dragon and Spawn, and Hellboy came out around that time, and it was this the Max. It was this push to make monsters the heroes, and I just fell in love because I felt like I was a total outcast, and I felt like girls looked at me like I was a monster, and so I really identified with with those monster characters, and it's just comic books are where it was at for me.
I definitely didn't fall in love with comic books until a lot of Image broke, and I don't really have a lot of interest in superhero comics. I'm not like talking shit on. I would never talk shit on Superman or Spider-Man. That's just not my. I don't really have a lot of interest in that. I like I said, I like The Mask. I used to read the Pit. I used to read Spawn, Savage Dragon, but I'm mostly addicted to like 90s cartoons is my I like Ren and Stimpy, Cow and Chicken, like all that weird Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Remember I Am Weasel? All those different cartoons like that are really Rocko's Modern Life. That's the shit that I would say I'm more influenced by than probably comic book art. But I've never been a superhero person for some reason.
I kind of missed cartoons like that. They seem really, I don't know if it's just the animation now, but it's like you watch them and they're all like, I know it's been said before, but it's like all the modern cartoons, they're all like small and chubby. I don't know where that comes from.
Really crappy art.
Yeah.
On purpose. I mean, I'm not talking shit on it. I'm saying like modern cartoons purposely draw things really crudely.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that started like if you look at Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, I think that those shows. I love both those shows, but they're not the most beautifully drawn or animated shows. Like even if you look at an episode of Ren and Stimpy compared to an episode of Beavis and Butthead, like Ren and Stimpy looks like shining gold compared to Beavis and Butthead.
That's one of the endearing things about Beavis and Butthead, though, was just how crappy it looked.
Yeah, and then it still worked.
It was part of what made it funny.
It is, yeah. I think that same thing with South Park. Part of what makes South Park funny, especially those early ones, was the crudeness.
Yeah.
How rough they were and shit.
I miss all the shows like Dexter's Lab and Cow and Chicken was a weird one.
Cow and Chicken was a very weird show. Yeah. It had that red devil guy that would always have like a big old butt. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then they're always like that. Well, the cows always got big old udders hanging off of her, and then like milk would squirt out of them and shit. Ed and Eddie was another great cartoon from that time frame.
Yeah, that one and Courage. They were freaking awesome.
Courage, yep.
I miss Ed and Eddie. I think out of all those, that's probably my favorite one.
And I always loved Doug, and then I always loved what was the other one I was just thinking about? It was on right. Oh well, it's not a comic, but I would just a cartoon. But I wanna find the episodes of Salute Your Shorts. Do you guys remember that show?
Yeah.
I can't find them anywhere, but that show was really cool. I read a thing a while back about Nickelodeon used all these shows like Ren and Stimpy and Rocko's Modern Life and stuff to pretty much like catapult themselves into the world, and then later dropped those shows and picked up ones that were considered more like family friendly, because Ren and Stimpy could be nasty sometimes. Yeah. But they pretty much like built their name off of all these cartoons that were kind of raunchy, and then abandoned them all and found cartoons that were more like, not there's anything wrong with SpongeBob, but SpongeBob isn't quite Ren and Stimpy,
Right.
I love SpongeBob still, but not like I love Ren and Stimpy.
Be honest, I gotta go with SpongeBob over Ren and Stimpy. It's just probably because I was just raised on it. But I freaking love it.
Yeah, that's how I am too. I like Ren and Stimpy more than SpongeBob, but I still think that SpongeBob is a great cartoon.
Yeah, kind of wary about that new movie though, but because that last movie was horrible.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys saw or not, but on Netflix they did a redo of it's like a new put out of Rocko's Modern Life, and I did not care for it at all.
Oh yeah, didn't they have a tranny character?
It was real gimmicky. It was like every 30 seconds you'd hear them go, Rocko's Modern Life, like from the song.
Yeah.
Like they were doing that like every 30 seconds in the background, and then it was gimmicky as hell, and then at the end it got kind of like preachy almost, where they were telling you about how you should feel about like how things that you used to like, you might not like them now. It just got really weird at the end. I thought it was crap overall. But if you got the Invader Zim one that they redid is excellent. The Invader Zim
is the Rocco's Modern Life. Is it the same people, the same creative force behind it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same people that made the show.
I'm pretty sure that Invader Zim thing was still the same guy. So I was wondering if maybe
I know it was for sure that Invader Zim, and I'm pretty positive the Rocco one was too. And you can tell it. I mean, it's true to it. It's just, I don't know. They just, like I said, it was very gimmicky, like it. And then they start preaching at you somewhere. It's like 45 minutes long, and somewhere probably at about the 30-minute mark, you start to feel like they're preaching at you pretty hard. So, I don't want to get preached at by Rocco, you know?
No. Well, it's this. There's this sort of like. Well, I describe it like this: like pitch meetings in Hollywood are like this now. They're like, remember Star Trek? And everybody in the board meeting's like, yeah, and they go, well, fuck you. And it's like everything has to be this subversive thing where they take a piece of nostalgia and then they turn it on its head and basically shame you for remembering it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like I saw an article today about that Picard show, the new Star Trek show, where they're like, now the Enterprise is no longer the best starship in the Starfleet. It's like, why? Why? You get us here because it's Star Trek, and obviously part of Star Trek is the Enterprise, and then you bash the Enterprise. You like make the Enterprise look insignificant.
Yeah. Remember the show that you fell in love with, and while you're here now, fuck it. Here's something different with the same clothes on.
Yeah, I've heard that Picard show is pretty bad.
I like the cartoon on Netflix called F is for Family. It's Bill Burr's cartoon.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's a great cartoon. It just seems like it has a crazy slow like production time because it will come out and then it's like 8 or 10 episodes and then it seems like it takes forever for the next ones to come out.
Just like Rick and Morty.
Yeah. What do you guys? Either you guys? What's the other one that's like people either love it or hate it right now? Oh, either you guys ever watch Gravity Falls on Nickelodeon? It's actually a super cool cartoon for being like a Nickelodeon new cartoon. It's about this kid and his little sister. They go to live with their great uncle, and he lives in like this mystical forest and. The house that he lives in is like this weird, I don't know, almost like Ripley's Believe It or Not museum, kind of. But it's a really cool cartoon.
I'll have to check it out.
It sounds cooler than a lot of those other ones that they had
on. I have reached the end of my work day. It's almost 1 a.m. here in Strangeville. My hands numb, tired.
Perfect.
He's weak. Attack. This is how Joe Exotic makes husbands.
Right.
All right, I'm pulling you up into full screen. Brad, let's see what we got.
Here it is.
It's looking fucking good, man.
Weird shit.
Is it cool?
I'm gonna work on next time we do this, whether it's tomorrow or whenever. I'm gonna start grinding that comic book. But
we'll see. I don't know if I'll have any stamina for a show tomorrow night. Weekends are pretty crazy right now. So.
Yeah.
Let's see. What kind of paper are you working with there, Brad?
Cheap.
Is it Bristol board or is it just regular?
It's like
you flipped it upside down.
Oh, awesome! Oh, I forgot I turned my camera. It's this. I don't know. They're like you get 100 sheets and they're 11 by 14, and these are like the cheapest ones that you can get on. But yeah, it isn't Bristol board at all. It's just
I buy this dumb expensive board for some reason. I don't know why I bother, but I work on what is that? It's got an actual weight on it. What does it say? It doesn't fucking say. I don't know, where does it say it on here? 300 series, I guess, is the 100 pound. I use 100-pound Bristol board, and the Bristol board that I used before this is a new pack.
Yeah.
The board I got before this was smooth, and this is like this is vellum, whatever the fuck vellum is.
Oh yeah, vellum's crazy, dude. I've drawn on vellum before.
Vellum's real coarse.
Yeah, it's got like a real cool texture.
Yeah, it took me a minute to kind of get the rhythm of using the vellum because it's way different than using the smooth as far as like how your graphite sort of glides over it. With the smooth, the graphite just like boom, just takes off like a rocket. And with the vellum, it's like it fights you the whole way. You got to put a lot of stress.
Yeah, I like that personally. I like having like a drag when you pull that. You know, some people don't. I think it's just kind of like a preference, but yeah, I just draw on the cheapest paper that I can find. That's the size that I'm looking for. Because I just take it all and turn it into digital art for the most part. Like if I was gonna draw something that was gonna be like a big finish, like when I used to do big hand done pieces, I'd get better paper sometimes. But for right now, all I'm doing is mostly doodling and then or just drawing stuff that's gonna go to digital art. So
yeah.
I found a pair of these the other day, and I figured I would show them to you because you're the only asshole that would appreciate them that I know.
Oh yeah.
So
nice. Well, I was wearing sunglasses for a while on the streams because I had this. I never told anybody, but I had this. What do you call that? It's like a sty.
Yeah.
On my eye that was like really noticeable, and so I would wear my sunglasses on the stream. And didn't Amanda like comment like, why does that motherfucker always wear sunglasses? And you were like, because he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. Yeah, he's inside and he's wearing sunglasses. Like, why else do you do that? Unless you're just a prick.
Yeah, I was trying to hide this big gnarly sty on my eye that was there for months. I actually went to the eye doctor and they were like, well, what we're gonna do is flip your eyelid up and we're gonna slice it open and pull this thing out of there. And
like actually I'm okay.
I was like, fuck, why are we doing that? And
what the heck is a sty? Like I know it's the big red things, but like what is it?
It's like an ocular canker sore.
Yeah, it's like a buildup of like oils and shit into the pores in your eyelid, and it creates a big lump. And I was like, I went to the like initial like consultation, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's easy. It's 5 minutes in and out. Take a scalpel. We're gonna slice your eyeball open and take it out. Not the eyeball, but underneath the inside of the eyelid." And I was like, okay. We set the date, and I ended up canceling it. I was like, I don't want to do that. And then the damn thing went away on its own. But it had been there. It had been there for like 4 months.
It's real easy. We're gonna pop your whole eyeball out.
Yeah.
Start pushing on the back of it real hard.
And put it right back in and out.
No big deal.
Big deal. And, it had been there like solid for like 4 months. And it was to the point, that I didn't even want to show it on the stream because it was just like, meh. But it ended up going away on its own. So
I used to get those when I was younger, and a girl I used to date told me that if I wash my eyebrows with tea tree oil, that I wouldn't get them anymore. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I did it, and I really haven't gotten them anymore. So it could be a coincidence. Or maybe she's like a white witch or something.
Well, I think that's only one step away from marrying Joe Exotic.
Yeah, when you start being like, well, I could just rub some aloe on it.
Using essential oils on your eyebrows is pretty.
Yeah, I mean that just made me sound like a complete hippie, I guess. But screw it.
Zach, I appreciate you hanging out, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been cool.
You got anything you want to plug?
Not really, except the usual stuff. But everyone knows that already.
Nobody that's watching this show knows it. Plug your shit, brother.
Soon the Savage Swamp Beast, the main thing I want to plug. I'm freaking looking forward to Nihilism Revised putting out my vacation beach trip comedy later July, I think.
And that's all on Amazon, right? They just need to search Zachary Magaha.
Yep.
Magaha.
But have you ever looked at any of Nihilism Revived's art and all that stuff that they do? Are y'all familiar with them?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, from just wearing these inside for a minute, I can say "fuck you, Kevin." Like I don't know. If you
Why is Brad wearing sunglasses? Because he's an asshole.
He's an asshole.
All right, fellas, it's been real. We out.
Boy!